Hello again, a very warm welcome to you all. My name is Deni Kay and I'm here today with a bottle of Glenfarclas 40-year-old single malts. Now, Glenfarclas, very well-renowned distillery, quite a bit of history to it now, obviously known for their big red doors, warehouse doors, which is actually what this box is modelled off. I think it's a quite handsome presentation box, family-owned distillery, and make fantastic sherry matured whiskey, known for that and probably so much more. But the Glenfarclas story goes back all the way to 1836, where a gentleman by the name of Robert Hay, who was a cattle trader, decided to put up a little distillery on his piece of land. Then in 1865, John Grant came along, took over the tenancy, was also a trader, and what he did was he continued to go about his trade and actually leased out the distillery to a gentleman by the name of John Smith, who up until 1870 was producing whiskey there. Then decided to go off to his own distillery, continue to make whiskey. So John Grant then had an empty distillery, obviously started to make whiskey. After some time, it became apparent to him that one business was more viable than the other. And coming into their 6th generation now, the Grant family have certainly not looked back. Now, this one here, as I said, 40-year-old, I would say probably one of the only official bottlings out there that has this much age on it. It is still very reasonably priced. This has been exclusively matured in sherry casks, bottled at 43% ABV. So you may have noticed or been aware that when this was actually released, the 40-year-old, I think roughly back in about 2010, it was bottled at 46%, and the presentation tube was a pink purple type of color. This one here now 43%. So yes, it has taken a backward step in terms of strength. But the presentation box, as I said, very lovely presentation box. I think very cleverly done. And you'll find this style for the 30-year-old and also the 40-year-old. Opens up very nicely. This one on my left, actually, I have signed by George Grant, and also a little message inside for my sons when I met him at a tasting. I met him a couple of times, and I will say a true gentleman, great personality. So if you ever have the chance to perhaps attend a tasting that he's hosting, absolutely make sure that you get there. It would be well worth it. Great whiskey, great stories, and very knowledgeable, obviously. Now, as I said, he's a 6th generation, currently the sales director, and I really want to get stuck into this whiskey because I really do think that it's quite a special one. On the nose, it is chocolate, which I absolutely love. Nuts, yes. An array of nuts, mainly for me, a hazelnut is what I'm going to call that, with some dried fruits, prunes, raisins, chocolate-covered raisins. Also, along with that, there are some chocolates that are filled with a cherry liqueur. Yes, absolutely. Really jammy nose, fantastic. Some coffee notes here as well. Faint coffee notes, faint menthol on nose as well, which I absolutely love finding in whiskey. Heaps going on, really lovely, but that chocolate just continues to linger through, and it is a milk chocolate, not a dark chocolate. Some spice, little bits of oak, chocolate, yes, absolutely. Nuts, still there, yes, really jammy. Dark fruits, I'm going to say predominantly blackberries here. Yes, chocolate continues to linger through, nuts are there. Now what I'm also getting is a little bit of a cough drop or a cough syrup as it lingers through to the finish, then some of that spice, and then a touch of dryness as that lingers through. It is a long lingering finish. It is a really lovely whiskey, well balanced whiskey. I've not tried the 46% version. I think it would be fantastic at 46% because I'm a fan of the 15-year-old, which is still bottled at 46%. The 21-year-old for me is a no-brainer. For me, I think within that price bracket is an absolute bang for buck. Now what I'm almost starting to get, it's like stop short of a little bit of cigar box, which I find in the 25-year-old on the finish, and is the only one in the range where I can find that it is very, very evident in the finish. Fantastic whiskey for me. As I said, the chocolate is just phenomenal on this. I mentioned I'm not going to be adding any water to this yet. That cough drop starts to come through a little bit more. Really, really jammy, dark fruits, chocolate covered raisins. Yes, absolutely fantastic. The balance in this is so good. This is a 9 out of 10 easily every single day of the week for me. I really think it's really, really fruity. Heaps of fruits, heaps of chocolate, very well balanced whiskey. At the price point, while it is still, I think, very well priced comparatively out there in the market for anything else, when you're having a look at this much age on an official bottling, it is probably still one of the only, I'm not sure if I want to say accessible, affordable, because it's still not super cheap. You know, we're still talking $1,300, $1,400, £1,000, what have you, right? So it's not cheap, but old whiskey like this is not supposed to be cheap. So there you have it, right? I'm going to leave it at that. I do appreciate the time that you've taken to join me. And also, please do make sure, let me know what you think of the video. If you've liked it, obviously hit the thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe. That way you can join me next week, because obviously I try to do these videos weekly. So thank you very much once again for the time you've taken. Cheers to you. Till next time.